What if everything you know is wrong? Consider the dinosaurs. For generations, we've accepted their existence as a cornerstone of natural history, their bones displayed in museums, their images etched into our collective imagination. We see their skeletons in museums, watch them on screens, and accept them as fact. Their story is woven into the very fabric of how we understand Earth's past. But what if these titans never walked the Earth? What if the fossil record, so carefully pieced together, told a different story altogether? Imagine a world where the thunderous footsteps of Brachiosaurus never echoed, where the forests and plains were never shaped by the presence of colossal reptiles. Picture the entire story of dinosaurs as a grand fabrication, a narrative constructed from fragments, assumptions, and the human desire to find giants in the past. This isn't a conspiracy, just a thought experiment. Let's imagine for a moment that the world's history unfolded without these legendary creatures. Let's peel back the layers of accepted fact and look at the evidence with fresh eyes. What would the world look like if the age of dinosaurs never happened? Could the fossil record tell a different story, one without colossal reptiles? Would the rocks and sediments reveal a quieter, less dramatic past? This idea feels impossible, even unsettling. The absence of dinosaurs challenges everything we think we know about evolution, extinction, and the rise of mammals. Yet true discovery often begins with uncomfortable questions. If we remove dinosaurs from the equation, the entire evolutionary tree shifts. Imagine a world without the thunder of Brachiosaurus footsteps, or the roar of predators. The landscape would be shaped by different forces: climate, geology, and the slow, steady march of smaller creatures. Without giant herbivores to clear forests and trample vegetation, ancient plants might have grown denser, creating thick, tangled jungles and vast, unbroken woodlands. The absence of massive predators would mean fewer dramatic hunts, but also less pressure on smaller animals to evolve speed or cunning. Evolution would take a different path. Maybe the real story is about smaller, resilient creatures thriving in a world never ruled by giants. Mammals, reptiles, and birds would have evolved in a quieter, more stable environment, free from the shadow of titans. To explore this, we must set aside childhood images of towering skeletons and cinematic chases. Instead, we must imagine a world where the drama of survival played out on a smaller, subtler scale. We're venturing into a conceptual wilderness, questioning our deepest beliefs about the past. What would the world's ecosystems look like without the influence of giant reptiles? This isn't about dismissing science, but about engaging in true inquiry. If dinosaurs never existed, the rise of mammals might have happened sooner, or perhaps not at all. How do we truly know what we know? The fossil record is a puzzle, and every missing piece changes the picture. Let's be brave enough to ask. If the world never had dinosaurs, what creatures would have risen to dominance? Would mammals have flourished, or would reptiles and amphibians have taken their place? The world we imagine without dinosaurs is quieter, stranger, and full of new questions. The balance of nature would be forever altered, with ecosystems evolving along unfamiliar lines. Are you ready to question everything? In this world without giants, every answer leads to new mysteries, and the story of life on Earth is rewritten from the ground up. The idea that dinosaurs never existed is shocking, almost unthinkable. It's as if someone told you the sky isn't blue or that mountains are just illusions. Dinosaurs are more than ancient creatures. They are pillars of our collective memory, embedded in the stories we tell, the museums we visit, and the very way we imagine the distant past. Imagine a world where the concept of dinosaurs never existed. The sky would seem a little emptier, the earth a little less mysterious. Our sense of wonder about prehistory would be fundamentally altered. From the earliest days of childhood, we are introduced to the idea of gigantic reptiles roaming the earth. These stories shape our understanding of time, extinction, and evolution. Without dinosaurs, our first lessons about the ancient world would be missing a central, awe-inspiring chapter. This thought experiment isn't about distrust, but about understanding the roots of belief. What would fill the void left by dinosaurs in our cultural imagination? Would other ancient creatures take their place, or would our myths and legends look entirely different? How do we know what happened in a world we never saw? Our knowledge of prehistory is built on fragments, bones, stones, and the stories constructed around them. Without dinosaurs, the narrative of Earth's history would be rewritten and our museums would showcase different mysteries. We rely on evidence, but also on interpretation and consensus. The absence of dinosaurs would force scientists and storytellers alike to reinterpret the clues left behind, perhaps focusing on other extinct creatures or geological phenomena to explain the world's ancient past. When a story is told often enough, it becomes reality. Dinosaurs have become a cultural myth, one that bridges science and imagination. Without them, our collective myths would shift, perhaps giving rise to new legends or leaving a gap in our shared sense of wonder. The shock we feel when this narrative is questioned reveals how deeply we depend on these stories for stability. They anchor our understanding of the world and our place within it. Imagine walking into a museum and seeing a dinosaur skeleton, not as ancient remains, but as a human construction. The familiar becomes mysterious, and the certainty we once felt begins to dissolve. This exercise forces us to confront our assumptions and look deeper. Without dinosaurs, we would question the very foundations of our knowledge about the past. Knowledge isn't static. It's a process of questioning and re-evaluating. The absence of such a powerful myth would make us more aware of how stories shape our reality. The discomfort we feel is our minds stretching, adapting to a new possibility. It's a sign that our collective memory is not fixed, but always evolving. This is the first step toward critical thinking, questioning what we've always accepted and considering how different our world would be if the stories we tell were changed. Embrace the feeling of uncertainty. It is in these moments of doubt that new ideas and new myths are born. That's where real understanding begins. By daring to imagine a world where even the most fundamental stories can be questioned, a new truth can emerge. For generations, our understanding of ancient life has been built upon the fossil record, layers of stone preserving remnants of creatures from a distant past. In a world where dinosaurs never existed, the meaning of these fossils would be entirely different. Every bone, every imprint, every fragment would be re-examined, not as evidence of giant reptiles, but as clues to a lost world shaped by other forces. Without the concept of dinosaurs, scientists would look at these massive bones and wonder, are they the remains of enormous mammals, or perhaps creatures unlike anything alive today? Some fossils might be dismissed as the products of geological processes, their shapes mere accidents of mineral growth and pressure. The fossil record would become a puzzle with missing pieces, its meaning debated in lecture halls and laboratories. Some would argue that these bones belonged to ancient mammals of unimaginable size, while others would insist they were nothing more than curious stones shaped by time. Nature, after all, is a master of illusion. Rocks can mimic the forms of life, and patterns in stone can suggest creatures that never were. In this world, the line between fossil and formation would blur even further. Paleontologists working with incomplete skeletons would rely on their knowledge of living animals to reconstruct the past. But without the expectation of dinosaurs, their imaginations would turn to other possibilities, giant sloths, ancient rhinoceroses, or entirely unknown beasts. If you expect to find a giant mammal, you'll build one from the bones you have. The absence of dinosaurs would shift every assumption, every reconstruction, every story told about the ancient world. What if the very foundation of our understanding was based on a false premise? In this alternate history, the search for meaning in the fossil record would be filled with uncertainty and debate. The dating of geological layers would still rely on the fossils they contain, but without dinosaurs as markers, the system would be less certain. The logic would circle endlessly. Rocks date the fossils, fossils date the rocks. Could these layers have formed from catastrophic floods, volcanic eruptions, or other events we have yet to imagine? The absence of dinosaurs would open the door to new theories and bold speculation. Artistic interpretation would still play a crucial role. Instead of dinosaurs, artists would bring to life enormous mammals or mythical beasts, shaping the public's imagination with every brushstroke and sculpture. Early reconstructions, often based on little evidence, would be just as inaccurate, yet they would define how generations envisioned the ancient world. Even today, our images of prehistoric life are shaped by a blend of science and imagination. The absence of dinosaurs would not change this, only the creatures depicted. How much of what we see in museums and textbooks is grounded in evidence, and how much is the product of creative minds filling in the gaps? The boundary between fact and interpretation is razor thin, especially when the evidence is fragmentary and the past is so distant. We must constantly ask ourselves, are we uncovering the truth of ancient life, or are we constructing elaborate stories from stone and imagination? In a world without dinosaurs, the answers we find in the fossil record might astonish us even more, reminding us that the past is always stranger and more mysterious than we expect. Science is built on objectivity, on the careful collection and analysis of evidence, yet it is also a profoundly human pursuit, shaped by the minds and motivations of those who practice it. In the absence of dinosaurs, the very fabric of scientific storytelling would have evolved differently. Our myths, our explanations for the ancient world, would have taken on new forms. When a majority of scientists reach agreement on a theory, it becomes woven into the fabric of accepted knowledge. This consensus, while powerful, can be difficult to challenge, especially when it is reinforced by institutions, textbooks, and the public imagination. Without dinosaurs, the consensus would have centered on other ancient creatures, perhaps giant mammals or mysterious reptiles. Museums would display different skeletons, and the public's sense of prehistory would be shaped by these alternative icons. For scientists, questioning the dominant narrative can be risky. Dissent is often discouraged, not just by peers, but by the weight of tradition and the desire for acceptance within the scientific community. Sometimes consensus persists, not because of overwhelming new evidence, but because it is safer to agree than to stand alone. In the absence of dinosaurs, alternative stories about Earth's past would have become entrenched, passed down through generations of researchers. History shows that scientific revolutions often begin with outsiders, those willing to question the prevailing story and see the world differently. Without dinosaurs, these outsiders might have challenged myths about other prehistoric giants, rewriting the story of life on Earth. Could paleontology, in a world without dinosaurs, have become stuck in a different consensus, one that blocked new ideas about the creatures that once roamed the planet? Consensus is not always wrong, but it can blind us to alternatives. In the absence of dinosaurs, the stories we tell about Earth's history might have become just as powerful, just as resistant to change. Science is a story of constant revision, a process of questioning and rewriting what we think we know. Without dinosaurs, the myths and legends of prehistory would have shifted, but the need for skepticism and curiosity would remain. Imagining a world without dinosaurs is not an attack on science. It is a celebration of its core principle: nothing is beyond question. True science welcomes doubt, and in the absence of dinosaurs, it would have found new mysteries to explore. Today's facts can become tomorrow's footnotes. The stories we tell about the past are always subject to change as new evidence emerges. By questioning, by doubting, by remaining open to new ideas, we keep the spirit of discovery alive. Even in a world without dinosaurs, science would continue to evolve, driven by the same restless curiosity. The story of science is never finished. Each generation adds new chapters, revises old ones, and sometimes erases entire sections. Let us keep asking, what if we're wrong? In the absence of dinosaurs, the myths and stories of science would change, but the quest for truth would endure. Imagine a world where dinosaurs never existed. In this alternate timeline, the ancient forests are alive with the sounds and movements of mammals, not the thunderous footsteps of giant reptiles. The air is thick with the scent of blooming plants, and the canopy above is unbroken, sheltering a world that is about to change forever. Without the dominance of dinosaurs, mammals would not have been forced into the shadows. Instead, they would have flourished and diversified much earlier, filling ecological roles left vacant by the absence of reptilian giants. The forests and plains would echo with the calls and movements of mammals of all shapes and sizes. Picture enormous wombat-like herbivores grazing in the undergrowth, their massive forms shaping the landscape as they feed. Saber-toothed marsupials, apex predators of their time, stalk silently through the dense vegetation, their keen senses attuned to every movement. As the sun rises over this primeval world, herds of mammals emerge from the shadows, moving confidently across the land. The age of mammals would have begun not 65 million years ago, but perhaps 100 million years sooner, rewriting the story of life on Earth. Evolution would take a dramatically different path. Mammals, freed from the constraints of dinosaur competition, would evolve into forms both familiar and utterly alien, creatures with features and adaptations never seen in our own timeline. Ecosystems would transform in unexpected ways. With no sauropods to clear the forests, the land would remain cloaked in dense, ancient jungle. Open grasslands, as we know them, might never develop, and the world would be a tapestry of green, woven together by the activities of mammals. The planet would be a realm of unbroken jungle, where sunlight filters through thick leaves and the ground teems with mammalian life. Every layer of the forest would be alive with creatures adapted to climb, burrow, and leap. Even the plants would evolve differently. Flowering plants and trees would adapt to the feeding habits and movements of mammals, developing new shapes, colors, and scents to attract these new partners in pollination and seed dispersal. The absence of dinosaurs would set off a chain reaction, rippling through every ecosystem. Mammals would become the primary shapers of their environments, influencing everything from the spread of forests to the evolution of insects and birds. The meek, once forced to hide, would inherit the earth much earlier. Small, timid mammals would grow bolder, exploring new ecological niches and expanding their range across the ancient world. Their rise would be a story of opportunity and innovation, not just survival after catastrophe. Mammalian communities would thrive, spreading into every corner of the landscape, adapting to every challenge. The world would be ruled by fur and whisker, not scale and claw. Mammals would become the architects of their own destiny, shaping the planet in their image. This alternative history reveals the deep interconnectedness of life. Every species, every adaptation, every relationship would be different, woven together in a new and intricate web. One missing piece, one vanished group, changes everything. The world as we know it is only one of countless possibilities. In this world without dinosaurs, the Earth would be a place both familiar and utterly strange, a testament to the power of evolution and the endless potential of life. Dinosaurs didn't just shape life, they shaped the land. Herds of giant sauropods would have compacted soil, altered water flow, and changed erosion patterns. Without them, the Earth's surface would be different. Looser soils, more stable landscapes, even sedimentary rocks might be distributed differently. The sheer biomass of dinosaurs represented a weight on the continents. Over millions of years, even small shifts in weight could subtly influence continental drift. Without dinosaur mass, Pangaea might have split along different lines. Mountain ranges and coastlines could look unfamiliar. The living and geological worlds are deeply connected. The absence of dinosaurs would leave a mark not just on life, but on the stone itself. The Earth's story would be rewritten. Without the trampling of massive feet, soil layers would remain undisturbed, leading to finer sedimentation. Rivers would carve their paths differently, unimpeded by the movements of colossal creatures. The absence of their weight would mean tectonic plates might move in slightly different ways, altering the course of geological history. The world map as we know it could be unrecognizable with different mountain ranges and coastlines. The geological record would lack the massive fossils that tell the story of these ancient giants. The landscape would be serene, untouched by the heavy footsteps of dinosaurs. Plant life would flourish differently, without the constant disturbance of large herbivores. The Earth's surface would evolve in a unique way, telling a different story of its geological past. From the earliest days, humans have been compelled to tell stories. Around flickering fires, in the echoing chambers of caves, and beneath the open sky, we have always sought to explain the mysteries that surround us. Our minds are wired to seek patterns, to find meaning in the unknown, and to weave those discoveries into tales that bind communities together. For centuries, the discovery of strange, enormous bones sparked the imagination. Men stumbled upon these relics in riverbeds and caves, and unable to comprehend their true origins, spun legends of dragons, giants, and monstrous beasts that once roamed the land. In a world without dinosaur fossils, the foundation of our myths would shift. There would be no tales of thunder lizards or fire-breathing dragons inspired by ancient bones. Instead, our legends would be shaped by the creatures we did encounter: giant wolves, towering bears, and serpents of impossible size. Our bestiaries would brim with tales of mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and spirits of the wild. The unknown would be filled not with reptiles from a forgotten age, but with the shadows of great mammals and the imagined forms of unseen predators. The science of paleontology would be unrecognizable. Museums would lack their iconic dinosaur skeletons, instead displaying the remains of ancient mammals and mysterious, unidentified bones. The halls would echo with questions, not answers. Without the spectacle of towering reptilian skeletons, the public's fascination with the deep past might wane. The sense of awe inspired by the vastness of time and the power of nature would be diminished. Dinosaurs in our world are more than extinct animals. They are symbols of nature's might and the immensity of time. In their absence, that sense of wonder would be harder to find. Yet the human drive to imagine would persist. Artists would fill the void with images of colossal mammals and mythical monsters. Children would play with figures of mammoths and dire wolves, inventing new adventures for these alternative giants. Our culture would feel the absence. The stories, books, and art inspired by dinosaurs would be missing, leaving a gap in our collective imagination. In response, we would invent new monsters, creatures of horn, fur, and shadow, to fill the void. But something essential would be lost: the connection to a real ancient world that once existed. Dinosaurs serve as a gateway to wonder, a bridge between the known and the unknown, inspiring generations to dream beyond the present. Without them, our world would lose a measure of its magic, a sense of possibility that stretches from the ancient past to the farthest reaches of our imagination. In the end, we need stories of any kind to fill the gaps in our understanding. The myth-making mind of humanity will always find a way, but the legends we create are shaped by the bones we find and the mysteries we yearn to solve. If dinosaurs never existed, why would we feel compelled to invent them? The answer lies deep within the human psyche, in our endless quest to understand our place in the universe and to make sense of the mysteries that surround us. We are drawn to stories larger than ourselves, tales of ancient worlds teeming with colossal beasts, landscapes untouched by human hands, and epochs lost to time. These imagined histories offer us a sense of grandeur, a backdrop against which our own existence feels both humble and significant. The idea of monsters, gigantic, powerful, and mysterious, serves a vital role in our collective imagination. They embody the chaos and danger that once threatened our ancestors, and by confronting these monsters, even in myth, we symbolically conquer the unknown. The myth of dinosaurs provides a safe space to explore fear and wonder. These creatures are thrilling, yet safely extinct, allowing us to marvel at their size and power without real danger. The narrative of dinosaurs is also a story of progress. It tells us that the world was once ruled by brutal giants, but through time, clever mammals emerged, adapted, and eventually inherited the Earth. This arc of triumph and survival resonates deeply with our own sense of destiny. In this story, humanity is placed at the pinnacle of evolution, the ultimate inheritor of a world once dominated by monsters. It flatters our sense of importance and progress, suggesting that we are the culmination of a long and dramatic history. The persistence of the dinosaur myth is no accident. It fulfills deep psychological needs, our desire for awe, our fascination with the unknown, and our need to feel connected to a grand narrative that stretches far beyond our own lifetimes. Dinosaurs give us monsters to marvel at, mysteries to ponder, and a sense of destiny that links us to the distant past. They inspire curiosity and wonder, especially in the young, who see in these ancient bones the promise of adventure and discovery. Even if the bones we found were nothing more than curious rocks, our minds would weave stories around them. We are storytellers by nature, compelled to fill the gaps in our knowledge with imagination and myth. Dinosaurs have become a modern creation myth, one that carries the weight of scientific authority. They bridge the gap between ancient legend and modern discovery, giving us a narrative that feels both magical and credible. We did not simply uncover dinosaurs, we needed to invent them. Their story is as much a product of our imagination as it is of our science, shaped by our longing for meaning and our fascination with the unknown. In the end, our imagination fills the voids left by the unknown, and the myth of dinosaurs endures, because it speaks to something timeless within us all. Our journey draws to a close in a world where dinosaurs never existed. A world fundamentally altered, not just in its history, but in the very stories we tell about ourselves and our planet. Imagine the ripple effect, from the textbooks in our schools to the art that decorates our museums, from the scientific theories that shape our understanding of life to the myths that fuel our imagination. This thought experiment is not about rejecting evidence or dismissing the hard work of generations of scientists. Instead, it is about shaking us from the comfort of certainty, urging us to look beyond what is accepted and to probe the foundations of our knowledge. Every scientific fact, every cultural narrative is built upon layers of interpretation, discovery, and sometimes error. The true power of inquiry lies in asking, what if? What if the stories we accept as truth are only one version of reality? What if the evidence we see is only a fragment of a much larger puzzle? Questioning is our most vital tool, not just for the history of dinosaurs, but for every belief we hold, every assumption we make about the world and our place in it. It is through questioning that we refine our understanding and move closer to the truth. Scrutinize the evidence, examine the consensus, ask yourself why you believe what you do. Is it because of tradition, authority, or genuine understanding? The pursuit of knowledge demands that we challenge even our most cherished ideas. Critical thinking means being open to strange possibilities, to the idea that what we know today may be overturned tomorrow. It means admitting that our knowledge is always incomplete and that the unknown is far greater than the known. The universe is vast, and the history of our planet is filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Every rock, every fossil, every unexplained phenomenon is an invitation to look deeper, to ask more questions. The most exciting discoveries are made by those who dare to challenge the known, who are not afraid to venture beyond the boundaries of accepted wisdom. Progress is born from curiosity and the courage to question. The next time you see a dinosaur skeleton, remember that it represents both science and story, a blend of evidence and imagination, of fact and interpretation. Appreciate the curiosity, the relentless pursuit of answers, and the imagination that brought these discoveries to light. Every exhibit, every theory, is the result of countless questions asked and answered. Allow yourself to ask, what if? What if the world is not as it seems? What if there is more to discover, more to understand? In that single question lies the endless quest for knowledge, the drive that has propelled humanity forward through the ages. The world is always more fascinating, more mysterious, and more rewarding when you challenge your assumptions and dare to question everything you think you know. Gap 3s. Let's take a moment to explore a new dimension of our thought experiment, a world where dinosaurs never existed and its profound impact on modern technology and innovation. Imagine the cascading effects on scientific advancement, engineering breakthroughs, and even the way we approach problem solving. In a world without the discovery of dinosaur fossils, our understanding of biology and evolution would be vastly different. The study of ancient life forms has often led to technological advancements in unexpected fields. For instance, the concept of biomechanics was significantly influenced by studying the movement and structure of dinosaur skeletons. Without these ancient blueprints, our designs for robotics and prosthetics might have taken entirely different paths, perhaps delaying or altering their development. Consider the realm of material science. The intricate structures of dinosaur bones have inspired the creation of lightweight yet strong materials. In a dinosaur-free world, we might have missed out on these crucial biological lessons, possibly slowing the progress of materials used in everything from aerospace engineering to everyday consumer products. The absence of dinosaurs would also impact our approach to energy resources. Fossil fuels, a remnant of ancient organic matter, have driven technological advancements for centuries. While dinosaurs themselves are not the primary source of fossil fuels, the study of prehistoric eras has deepened our understanding of geological processes, leading to more efficient extraction and utilization methods. Without this historical context, our energy strategies could be less advanced, potentially stalling industrial and technological growth. In the realm of artificial intelligence, the algorithms that drive modern machine learning are often inspired by natural processes and evolutionary biology. The complex ecosystems of the past, including those dominated by dinosaurs, have provided rich datasets for simulating and understanding adaptive behavior. In a world without these ancient creatures, our models for AI might lack the depth and complexity needed for true innovation, limiting the scope of what these technologies can achieve. Even our approach to climate science would be different. The mass extinction events that wiped out the dinosaurs have provided vital clues about the Earth's climate changes and resilience. This knowledge has been instrumental in developing models to predict future climate scenarios and devise strategies for mitigation. Without these historical benchmarks, our understanding of climate dynamics would be less comprehensive, potentially hindering our ability to address contemporary environmental challenges. In the field of medicine, the study of prehistoric life forms has led to breakthroughs in understanding disease evolution and genetic mutations. The ancient DNA extracted from fossils has opened new avenues for research in genetics and biotechnology. A world without dinosaurs might have delayed these critical discoveries, affecting the pace at which we develop treatments and cures for modern diseases. The ripple effect of a dinosaur-free world extends even to our cultural innovations. The awe and curiosity sparked by these ancient giants have inspired countless individuals to pursue careers in science and engineering. The stories of their discoveries have fueled the imagination of inventors and innovators, driving them to explore the unknown and push the boundaries of what is possible. Ultimately, the impact of a world without dinosaurs on modern technology and innovation is a testament to the interconnectedness of knowledge. Every discovery, every piece of evidence, contributes to a larger tapestry of understanding that shapes our technological landscape. As we continue to explore and innovate, let us remember the lessons from our prehistoric past, and the endless possibilities that arise when we dare to question and explore the unknown. Now let's turn our gaze to the world of imagination, a world shaped by brushstrokes, words, and moving images. In a reality where dinosaurs never walked the earth, the ripple effects would reach far beyond science and technology, deeply influencing art, literature, and cinema as we know them. Imagine the countless paintings and sculptures that have captured the majesty and terror of these ancient giants. Works that would simply not exist. Iconic images, from towering skeletons in grand museums to the lush, dramatic landscapes where dinosaurs once roamed, would be absent from our collective visual memory. Artists lacking these prehistoric muses might have turned instead to other extinct creatures or mythological beasts, reshaping the very foundation of natural history art. Literature, too, would be fundamentally different. The thrilling adventure novels that sent explorers into primeval jungles in search of living dinosaurs would have no basis. Classic tales like The Lost World or Jurassic Park, stories that have inspired generations of readers, would never have been written. Instead, perhaps the focus would shift to other mysteries of the ancient world, like the rise and fall of megafauna or the secrets of vanished civilizations. The absence of dinosaurs would leave a gap in the realm of speculative fiction, altering the themes that drive our greatest stories about survival, extinction, and the unknown. Cinema, a medium that thrives on spectacle, owes much of its visual language to the awe-inspiring presence of dinosaurs. Groundbreaking films that brought these creatures to life, mesmerizing audiences and pushing the boundaries of special effects, would be replaced by different wonders. The technological leaps made to animate and render dinosaurs on screen would have been directed elsewhere, perhaps toward other monsters or futuristic visions, changing the trajectory of visual effects and storytelling in film. Blockbuster franchises that have dominated box offices and inspired generations of filmmakers would simply not exist. The cultural touchstones that unite audiences in collective wonder and fear would take on entirely different forms. Without dinosaurs, the very notion of lost worlds and ancient mysteries would be reimagined. Our myths, our monsters, our metaphors for power and vulnerability would shift, evolving in unexpected directions. The absence of these creatures would not diminish human creativity, but it would reshape its focus, redirecting the currents of imagination that flow through our art, our stories, and our shared dreams. As we ponder this alternate history, we are reminded of the profound impact that even the distant past can have on the human spirit, fueling the endless quest to create, to imagine, and to bring the impossible to life. As we delve deeper into a world untouched by dinosaurs, we must consider the realm of folklore and mythology. Dinosaurs, with their colossal forms and fearsome appearances, have left an indelible mark on the myths and legends of cultures around the globe. But what if they never existed? How would this absence shape the stories we tell and the legends that define our collective consciousness? In many cultures, the bones of dinosaurs were often mistaken for the remains of mythical creatures, dragons, giants, and other legendary beasts. In ancient China, for instance, the discovery of large fossilized bones gave rise to the myth of the dragon, a creature revered and feared in equal measure. Without dinosaurs, the very concept of dragons might never have emerged, or they might have taken on entirely different forms, inspired by other animals or pure imagination. In Europe, tales of giants roaming the earth and battling with gods and heroes were partly fueled by the discovery of dinosaur bones. The absence of these massive skeletons would have left a void in the folklore of many civilizations. Legends of epic battles and the primal fear of colossal beings might have centered around other natural phenomena, or ancient extinct creatures like mammoths or saber-toothed cats. Indigenous cultures around the world have also woven dinosaur-like creatures into their mythologies. In North America, the Sioux believed in the thunderbird, a powerful creature that brought storms and lightning. Some interpretations suggest that ancient sightings of pterosaur fossils might have influenced these stories. Without such fossils, the Thunderbird might have been envisioned differently, altering the spiritual and cultural narratives of these communities. In South America, the discovery of large mysterious bones contributed to the legends of the Mapinguari, a giant sloth-like creature said to roam the Amazon rainforest. The absence of dinosaur fossils would have led to a different set of myths, perhaps focusing on other enigmatic creatures of the jungle. The role of dinosaurs in folklore is not just about the creatures themselves, but about the way they have fueled the human imagination. Their absence would have necessitated the creation of new myths, new legends, and new explanations for the mysteries of the natural world. The stories we tell ourselves about our origins, our fears, and our place in the universe would have taken different paths, reflecting the unique landscapes and creatures that inhabited our world. In this alternate reality, the tapestry of global folklore would be woven with different threads, each one representing a distinct vision of the unknown. The myths that guide us, that teach us about bravery, caution, and the natural order would be reshaped, offering new lessons and new wonders. As we explore this imagined world, we see how deeply interconnected our history, our culture, and our stories are with the creatures that once walked the earth. The absence of dinosaurs would not silence the human urge to explain the unexplainable. Instead, it would redirect it, creating a rich and diverse tapestry of legends that continue to inspire and captivate us. In the end, it is not the specific creatures that matter, but the endless capacity of the human spirit to dream, to wonder, and to create meaning from the mysteries of our world. Now let's shift our focus from myths and legends to the tangible world of science and industry. Dinosaurs have not only shaped our imaginations, but also fueled entire sectors of research, education, and tourism. Imagine a world where these giants never existed. How would the ripple effects transform the economic and scientific landscapes? Consider the field of paleontology. With no dinosaur fossils to unearth, the entire discipline would look vastly different. Research would pivot toward other prehistoric life forms. Perhaps ancient mammals, marine reptiles, or early birds would take center stage. University departments, grants, and scientific publications would be reoriented, with academic prestige and funding flowing toward the study of creatures like mammoths, giant sloths, or trilobites. Museums around the world would be fundamentally altered. The iconic dinosaur skeletons that draw millions of visitors each year would be absent. Instead, grand halls might showcase towering mammalian megafauna or intricate displays of Ice Age predators. The ore that once belonged to the Tyrannosaurus rex and the Brachiosaurus would be channeled into other ancient marvels, changing the way generations of children and adults experience natural history. Tourism, too, would see a significant shift. Sites famous for their dinosaur tracks and fossil beds would lose their star attractions. Instead, destinations would market other prehistoric wonders. Perhaps the La Brea tar pits, famous for their wealth of Ice Age fossils, would become the world's leading paleontological pilgrimage. Theme parks and attractions based on dinosaur adventures would never exist, replaced by experiences centered on saber-toothed cats, woolly mammoths, or even ancient marine reptiles. The economic impact would ripple outward. From fossil replica manufacturers to science educators, a vast network of jobs and industries would be reshaped. The fascination with the lost world of dinosaurs drives countless books, documentaries, toys, and films. In their absence, new icons would rise to fill the void, but the scale and scope of dinosaur-driven commerce would be entirely reimagined. Even scientific outreach and public engagement would be transformed. Without the universal appeal of dinosaurs, educators and communicators would seek new ways to inspire curiosity and wonder about Earth's ancient past. The stories we tell in classrooms, museums, and media would shift, focusing on the extraordinary diversity of life that existed long before humanity's arrival. In this alternate reality, the absence of dinosaurs would not diminish our drive to explore and understand the prehistoric world. Instead, it would redirect it, shaping new industries and economies around the creatures and mysteries that still capture our collective imagination. The story of our planet would be told through different stars, but the human thirst for discovery would remain unchanged.